Subnautica. A game full of unique and beautiful creatures. But, not every creature is like that, unfortunately. And I don't mean the scary ones either. I'm talking about the creatures that don't have much going for them that makes them stand out. You know. The creatures that when they get mentioned, you say, oh right, those exist. A few days ago, I was thinking of how there are quite a few creatures in Subnautica that are like this, and so I put together a top 10 list. My top 10 forgettable creatures in Subnautica. Now, this list is structured a bit differently when compared to my other top 10 lists. This list is mostly set in no particular order. The only exception is the number 1 spot, which I think is the most forgettable. One last thing. This video features a few places and creatures that you wouldn't find until the late game, so if you don't want to be spoiled of anything, come back some other time when you have experienced all of Subnautica. So anyways, let's begin. Number 10 is the crab snake. Other than how ugly it is, how it inhabits jelly shrooms, and its jump scare, not much is going for it. Not only that, but you can only find them in the jelly shrooms biome. You only need to go there once in the beginning to mid part of the game for story related reasons, but afterwards, you don't have to go there. Side note. The oculus is a small fish also found only in the jelly shrooms biome, but it is not on this list. The reason the crab snake is on the list but not the oculus is because I personally use the oculus as my go-to fish when I make a fish farm in alien containments for eating and as bioreactor fuel. Next up at number 9 is the whole fish. This little guy is very tiny and very hard to spot. The only thing it has going for it is that it is edible and that it appears during the animation when you leave through your life pod's bottom hatch for the first time. But even then, it isn't much. Because of how small and agile it is, you are more likely to catch a different fish to eat. A slower, more nutritious fish to eat. And about its appearance in the life pod hatch animation. It is very brief and the animation only plays on your first time opening it from the inside. Seriously. If I just never use the bottom hatch on the life pod, I can go through the entire game without seeing this fish. Next up at number 8 is the Amoeboid. Don't get me wrong. The Amoeboid is really cool and unique. But it is just that for what it is. It looks like something that should have a bigger role than just being something to look out for. Being the only creature in Subnautica to produce an excess amount of bioelectricity, maybe there could have been a way to use that electricity to power your base or something. I mean, Subnautica does take place during the late 22nd century. You would think that somebody would have found out how to use and store bioelectricity by then. And yes, I know it might be a bit immoral, but this is survival of the fittest. Besides that, the Amoeboid is found in the bulb zone and blood kelp biomes. As for what I know, going to the bulb zone is entirely optional, and in the blood kelp biome, they are easy to miss. So in reality, you can go through the entire game without seeing them.
Electromagnetic signatures in the region.
At number 7, we have the Shuttlebug. The Shuttlebug is purely used for ambience and immersion. But it wasn't always like that. The developers have actually planned on this creature to be so much more important, but, like, 90% of what this creature was supposed to be was unfortunately scrapped. So now these things are forced to just exist. Only for you to just shrug it off every time you see it. Like, what they ended up being are empty husks that only react when you harm it. There is nothing about this thing left to talk about. At the number 6 spot is the lava lizard. The lava lizard has the same problem as the ampeel, where it is just something to look out for. The only unique thing about this creature is that it can create a rocky shell as defense. Well, I guess it can also spit molten rock, but that is completely overshadowed by the nearby sea dragon Leviathan's ability to spit out molten rock. Ooh. Toasty. Halfway there folks, with the number 5 spot being the river prowler. Just like with the ampeel and lava lizard, the river prowler is just something to look out for. Except this time, it has nothing that would make it unique. I mean, unless you count the whip-like appendages that it uses to attack as something that makes the river prowler unique. In the number 4 spot, we have the red eye. It is just the eye but harder to spot. The reason the magmarang isn't on this list but the red eye is because I think the boomerang is more iconic than the eye. But why the red eye but not the regular eye? Well, because by the time you reach the inactive lava zone biomes, you are most likely to have an easier way to get food already. So, it is both hard to find and impractical. In our number 3 spot, we have the jelly ray. There is nothing wrong with the jelly ray, it is just that I find it to be overshadowed by the ghost ray and the crimson ray. That is simply why I find it forgettable. Simple as that. At least it looks and sounds beautiful. Although it isn't as forgettable as I may think, since it is the first creature I see when I boot up Subnautica. We are almost done, and in the second place we have the spinefish. The reason why I find the spinefish forgettable is the same reason why I find the red eye forgettable. They are in late game areas, which means you would probably already have a reliable way of getting food, so I don't even acknowledge them. We finally made it to number 1, and it is the Amoeboid. The other creatures on this list are what I find forgettable, but I put the Amoeboid on the number 1 spot because most Subnautica players don't even know what this is. Me on the other hand, I can easily remember these things. Many people think amoeboids are plants, but they aren't. Their Pedia entry says they are a faunal species. Even on Sketchfab, it calls the amoeboid's model, Lost River Plant 04, despite this. Other than scanning them and seeing how many of them you can stack up before they fall, you can't really do much with them. I just think they are neat. Well, that is it. That is my top 10 forgettable creature in Subnautica. This list was unsurprisingly difficult to make because I, well, forgot them. I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you in the next one.